authority and experience. So thank you so much, Dad, for keeping the sun shining. And I hope you all have had a piece of pie, because we know it's the pie that was Mom's signature food, and it's through the pie that we all feel sort of closest to Mom in many ways. When I was attempting to put something together and starting to write something up about Mom this past week, the most extraordinary thing sort of happened, which was I started writing something, and then later that evening I was just going through some old files, sort of cleaning things up, and some unrelated letters I was going through, and I came across a letter that she had written actually to my son about when he was in 3rd grade. I think it was probably anticipation of Grandparents' Day, in response to a letter he had probably written to her, asking her about her childhood and growing up, and sort of different questions that she was probably responding to. So in a way, she has written the letter, or the talk that I would have wanted to give, and so I'm very grateful to Mom for having written my talk. So I'm going to read to her what I found in the files that when she was talking about growing up in Poughkeepsie. She starts, and there's a few other points that she's made too, and so I'll leave this out for people to read. And Mom writes, "It's hard to think about what to say, but I shall give you a bit of history about life in Poughkeepsie. I was surrounded by relatives, and we were very supportive of each other. One of my favorite aunts was my mother's younger sister, who had a grocery store in Poughkeepsie, near the railroad tracks for the New York Central. It had a large penny candy cabinet on one side, and containers with cookies on the other. Toward the back were containers with vinegar and kerosene. We had to package things like sugar, rice, and flowers in bags, and then weigh them on a balance scale. In the back of the store was a kitchen where my aunt did most of her cooking and baking. Behind the store was a high fence, which we used to climb, and watch the steam locomotives and the engineer and the conductors used to wave to us. We were very fortunate to have the library right around the corner of my home on Knoxon Street in Poughkeepsie. I spent many hours there. Although my mother only finished the 8th grade, she was an avid reader and enjoyed listening to the opera on Saturdays. She was a great role model for me and my 4 brothers and my sister. World War II was a very decisive factor in our lives. I know it must have been a strain on my mother, but we were fortunate in all returning home unharmed. As I wrote in my last letter, 2 of my brothers were in the Air Force, and I was stationed at the Great Lakes Naval Station near Chicago, which was a wonderful city to visit. My greatest joy is my family and my 6 wonderful children and 11 grandchildren. I have always been involved in politics, and my family was very involved in the Democratic Party. I was a member of the Board of Selectmen for 6 years. I have also been very active in the League of Women Voters, and was president of our local league for 4 years, and involved in many study programs. I was instrumental in getting a hazardous waste pickup in our area towns. I have been registrar of voters in Litchfield for over 10 years, and am disturbed by the apathy and lack of involvement on most people." That's Mom speaking. For 14 years, I was a leader of a 4-H group and taught many girls how to sew and cook. That was fun, and I love those girls. I hope this is the kind of information you need for your project. Lots of love to you and Sarah and your mom and dad, Grandma. Daniel, I hope this is what you need. And Mom, this is exactly what I needed. Thank you so much.